Welcome to the deep dive. This week we've been handed something pretty unusual. It's a directory, but it doesn't catalog bands by genre or by era.
Not at all. It catalogs them by danger level.
Exactly. It's called a field guide to dangerous configurations.
Yeah.
And the whole premise is, well, it's pretty wild.
It's an extraordinary document. It completely flips the script on music history. It suggests that, all those legendary implosions, the breakups, the artistic differences.
Yeah, the classic stories.
They were never about personality clashes. They were fundamentally always about bad math.
Right. So the size of the band isn't a creative choice. It's a mathematical formula, a kind of operational hazard index. We thought we were listening to music.
But this guide says we were actually listening to unstable geometry.
So our mission today is to trace that pattern, the one that keeps emerging from all these unexplained dissolutions, these famous lineups just falling apart. We're cataloging the sizes that become, as the guide puts it, operational.
When the group's collective energy hits something, the guide calls catastrophic resonance. So really, we're counting the survivors, following the rules laid out in this field guide.
And the common thread here, as we start to define the scale, is prime numbers. We're going to move from the inert starting point of 1 up through the unstable ones, the workhorses, and all the way up to the one that is absolutely officially forbidden.
13.
Okay, let's unpack this, starting at the beginning. Configuration size 1, the solo delusion. Wait, this document actually has a sense of humor?
It seems so.
It calls the solo musician the cosmology's greatest joke?
Yeah.
Why?
Yep.
What's the logic there?
Because it's mathematically unambiguous. It's just inert. The whole idea of resonance needs reflection. It needs a witness, some kind of intervention. A single point doesn't create geometry.
So all that effort is for nothing.
Completely.
Yeah.
The source material is just littered with these cases. People trying to channel genuine darkness, with these elaborate aesthetics, intense focus, and the result is always zero. No anomalous effect.
I love how mundane the failures are.
Yeah.
Like, we have documented cases. Morcha Solis recorded 6 albums in a church basement, and the only thing that happened was mild mold growth.
Exactly. Or, my favorite, the abyss caller.
Yeah.
He spends 3 years on what he calls the perfect summoning track, and his cat knocks over a candle and just burns the master copy.
The universe just refuses to cooperate. It only provides inconvenience.
But there was one exception, the one that proves a rule.
Oh, right. Hervey Yixon.
Hervey Yixon, a supposed soloist who claimed he'd had this breakthrough success. So the guide's compilers investigated, and it turns out he was secretly a duo.
Just 2 roommates sharing gear.
And by accident, they hit the minimum prime, 2. The threshold for resonance. And, they broke up 6 weeks later. Intense emotional friction.
Which is the perfect segue to 2. The unstable minimum. The smallest prime. Perpetually just. Fragmentary. And the pattern here isn't a physical catastrophe. It's this inevitable psychological breakdown.
The guide calls it the fracture pattern.
And it's so precise.
Incredibly, you get, 6 to 18 months of initial resonance. That's when they click. They finish each other's sentences. Their output just surges.
And then comes the stress fracture phase.
2 to 8 months, and they start to feel crowded or watched. The weirdest part is the dreams. They start having these vivid dreams about the other person constantly.
Simon and Garfunkel. It's the textbook example of the fracture pattern. Paul Simon apparently described dreams where Art Garfunkel's voice was coming from inside my head.
That is a terrifying level of intimacy.
It is. But let me push back on this for a second. What about Daft Punk? 28 years, that's not a fracture.
Right, and the guide has a theory on that. It credits their extraordinary duration to the anonymity protocols.
The helmets.
The helmets. The argument is they depersonalize the partnership by making it about the system, the machines, the aesthetic, and not about that intimate human link of 2. They avoided the full intensity.
So they never hit that synchronization that causes the collapse.
Exactly. They never got the full explosive power of 2, but they survived. The price of survival, it seems, is turning yourselves into machines.
A high cost. It seems the system just rejects that level of closeness. It wants, at a minimum, triangulation.
Which brings us to 3.
3, fragile power. This is the triangle, the simplest stable polygon. So this is the minimal viable configuration for, true operational resonance. But it's fragile. Why? Shouldn't stability mean endurance?
Because it's rigid. Think about it. In a triangle, every member carries exactly 33% of the structural stress. Any pressure on one corner immediately threatens the whole shape.
It takes constant effort just to hold it together.
The huge amount. Look at the classic power trios. Cream lasted, what, 2 years? Eric Clapton called it unsustainable. He actually used the phrase telepathic warfare.
Wow. And the Jimi Hendrix experience, 3 years of just escalating intensity. Hendrix himself said he didn't know if he was playing or if it's playing me.
He said his bandmates were holding something in place for him. And you see it even in minor incidents. With Nirvana, Kurt Cobain's journals mention something watching through the sound.
Or the Police. I read that audiences reported seeing an extra drummer in their peripheral vision during some 1983 shows.
Yes. So 3 works, but the human cost is it's severe. It's like an emergency flare, bright and fast.
So moving up the scale, we hit the ones that can actually sustain things. Part 2, the workhorses. And first up is 5, sustainable power.
The stable operational configuration, the sweet spot.
Right, we're moving from that rigid triangle to a flexible pentagon. Why does adding 2 more people change it from a quick burnout to a career?
It's pure load distribution, 5 members, so each person only carries about 20% of the operational stress, much less than the trio's 33%. And the geometry, the pentagon itself, is flexible. It can absorb shocks without collapsing.
You see this commercially everywhere. The Rolling Stones. Peak operational output as a quintet right up to 1974, producing their most reality-bending stuff.
And then the guide notes. When Mick Taylor left, they deliberately expanded to 6. They broke the prime. They never went back to 5. They knew.
They felt the circuit. And it's not just rock.
Oh, jazz musicians absolutely intuit this. Miles Davis's second great quintet. Herbie Hancock described it as telepathic but uncomfortably so.
What do you say?
He said he'd start playing a phrase and Tony Williams would be playing the exact same thing at the exact same time with no rehearsal.
That's unsettling. What's fascinating, though, is what happens after. The guide says 100% of members avoid quintets in their next projects.
They do. There's this Finnish band, Perkeros. They intentionally used the configuration, played exactly 13 shows, and then immediately disbanded. All the members moved to safer 4- or 6-piece bands.
So 5 lets you survive the work, but it takes a payment. Slowly.
It stabilizes the force long enough for the work to get done, but you need to recuperate in a non-prime, a statistically safe configuration afterwards.
Okay, now let's get to 7. Peak efficiency. The guide says this is where it stops being music and starts being, quote, architecture.
It's elegant. It's prime. It's large enough to distribute the load, but small enough that everyone can still synchronize.
And the most common form is the ska septet.
Yes. 3 horns, 4 rhythm section, and this creates an internal prime resonance. You have a 3 nested inside the 7.
Which causes a recursive amplification.
Exactly. It's why 7-piece ska bands are implicated in something like 63% of all the documented 7 configuration incidents.
And the danger of 7 is chilling. It doesn't burn out. The guide says it.
Yeah.
Completes the work. What does that even mean, completes the work?
It means the resonance achieves a kind of finality, a structural resolution that happens outside the music itself. Look at the Upsteppers case study from 2024-2025. It details the 4th show phenomenon.
The 4th show?
Yes. 89 of 127 documented incidents happened during a septet's 4th performance in a region, specifically at venues with a prior history of death or tragedy.
Okay, we need to slow down here. We have actual reports of consequences. Tell me about the sound engineer in Santa Cruz.
He vanished. During loadout, after that band's 4th show, witnesses said he just walked away from the parking lot back toward the empty stage, alone, as if responding to a cue.
A complete final action.
And even more terrifying is the venue in Arcata. It was condemned 48 hours after the band's 4th show. Structural instability. The unofficial reports confirm the building was literally humming, in harmony with the music from 2 nights before.
7 doesn't mess around. It imposes its structure on reality. Okay, so our journey now takes a turn into really unpredictable territory.
11.
11. Dangerous territory. It's just too many minds to synchronize properly. If 3 is rigid and 5 is flexible, what is 11?
It's overloaded. The group consciousness just fractures. Individual awareness collapses into a role, and the whole system is it's beyond human scale. And that vacuum it creates demands coordination from somewhere else.
From a non-human force.
Which is where you get the conductor problem. Conductors reporting the ensemble is ahead of my baton, or that they feel totally redundant.
The music is conducting the musicians. Sunrise Orchestra operated at 11 members all the time.
They did. And during those periods, they produced work with these anomalous phase relationships. Instruments playing in different tempos at the same time, but somehow still perfectly synchronized. It's the worst of both worlds.
Prime resonance power, but no human-scale awareness to control it.
Think of the 1978 Detroit gospel incident. An 11-member choir kept singing for 47 minutes straight. The song was long over. Afterwards, members reported they had no memory of the final 30 minutes.
The configuration achieved operational independence.
The only safety protocol, which classical music figured out, is to fragment rehearsals. You never let a permanent 11 stabilize. You negotiate with it.
Which brings us to the final configuration, the only one declared absolutely forbidden.
13.
The Lookout Mountain incident, 1847.
This was a group of Sacred Harp shaped note singers, and they were arranged in a hollow square formation.
That specific arrangement, 3 trebles, 3 altos, 4 tenors, 3 basses. That's the 3-3-4-3 balance.
Exactly 13. The geometry was perfect for their tradition and for that specific prime number.
And the effect was immediate. They sang for 3 hours, and eyewitnesses said it sounded like one voice with 13 mouths.
And then the air in the center of the square started to shimmer. People saw a shape or many shapes, a total breakdown of observed reality.
But it's the physical evidence that really locks this in.
After it was all over, they recovered the 13 hymnals, all verified 1847 printings of the Southern Harmony. The song they were singing was Wondrous Love, but the page number they were on was 159.
And page 159.
It didn't exist in the 1847 edition. That page number only appears in the 1991 Denson revision, 144 years in the future.
So the configuration, it transcended linear time. It literally pulled the detail forward from the future.
As if that activated hollow square just exists outside our physical laws, and the books simply showed the page number from whenever that song would resonate most powerfully. It's a documented temporal anomaly caused by a perfect, forbidden configuration.
And that's why you never, ever have 13 in that tradition.
A rule isn't written down, but every singer knows, never 13.
This math isn't just about the musicians, though. It extends to the audience. The role of the mass witness is critical.
Absolutely. The guide calls it the midnight special effect from 65 to 85. You had these perfect ritual conditions: live-to-tape, single-take, mass simultaneity, and critically directional witness attention.
It created a feedback loop.
An amplification chamber. It turned the television studio into this controlled environment for generating immense power. It's why those performances, like Rufus with Chaka Khan, felt impossible to replicate in a normal studio.
They needed the witness amplification.
But the reverse proves it. The guide calls it the witness inversion problem. Think about a show like Dancing with the Stars. The house band is often a prime configuration. They're playing live, but
All the attention is on the dancers.
the witness attention flows completely away from them. They operate in a witness shadow. The math is correct, but the ritual's energy goes elsewhere, so the operation is rendered inert, mundane.
This context of access is everything. The Black Crowes naming an album after the Sacred Harmony hymnal.
It shows an instinctive connection. And the Ohio players, using that absolute precision on live television, maintaining their prime configuration, that was a form of resistance. They were generating this undeniable, supernaturally precise performance using the geometry. The math works regardless of genre, but the witness is never neutral.
So this has been a complete journey through some very dangerous math. We started at inert 1, moved through the functional 5 and the efficient, terrifying 7, and we landed at the temporal impossibility of 13.
And the guide's premise seems to hold up. The key to longevity, or to destruction, was always in the count. The tradition survived by avoiding 13, by counting first.
And that really leads to the final observation we have to leave you with. We saw that the 13 singers at Lookout Mountain somehow pulled a page number forward 144 years.
So if a perfectly tuned configuration can exist outside linear time, what other details about future musical masterpieces or future catastrophes have already been coded into our reality by the bands playing right now? Unaware of the geometric forces they're unleashing. That's something for you to think about the next time you count the band members on a stage.